Hey everybody, I'm here today to talk to you about 5 important driving skills that you should constantly practice. In this video, I'll be going over 5 specific driving skills that are very useful and they are worth constantly practicing. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Driving skill number 1 that's important for you to constantly practice is reverse parking. Now, don't get me wrong, it's important to practice all forms of parking, but reverse parking seems to be the most difficult one for drivers to master, and therefore it's worth it to constantly practice it so that you can get better and better until you master it. Now, I also recommend reversing into a parking spot over driving forwards into a parking spot, so I see it as being a more useful type of parking than the other versions of parking, and that's why I recommend that you practice it, and I deem it as being important. Number 2, changing lanes. When you're driving, there's a good chance that you're going to be changing lanes many times within each commute. Even if you're only driving for 5 or 10 minutes, you're probably going to change lanes many times. And with that being said, changing lanes, when you actually break it down into the process, is a somewhat risky thing to do. You're taking your vehicle and you're moving it into another lane while you're moving around other cars that are also moving. So when you break it down like that, it seems like sort of a risky thing. And that's why it's important to get lane changes, down pat to the point where you're amazing at doing them. And that's why it's a very, very useful skill to practice. And that's why I've included it in this video, because it's an important skill to practice because it's so useful and you do it so often within every commute. Number 3, maintaining a safe following distance. Your following distance actually makes a huge difference in the level of safety that you have as a driver, as well as the level of safety of the drivers around you. If you follow too closely, then what's going to happen is you're going to limit your reaction time. If the person in front of you slams on their brakes, you're not going to have a lot of time to react, and therefore you're going to put yourself in a more dangerous situation. You will be unsafe to a certain degree as you're driving if you're not maintaining a safe following distance. So for the sake of your safety and the safety of those around you, it's definitely worth it to constantly practice maintaining a safe following distance from the car in front of you. Number 4, adapting to the road conditions. It's important that you practice constantly adapting to the road conditions. Here's what it comes down to, okay? You're going to drive differently in the snow than you would on the dry road. You're going to drive differently in the rain than you would in the snow. You're going to drive differently in the fog than you would in the rain. So as the road conditions and the weather conditions change, you have to change your driving. You have to adapt your driving to the road conditions. And it's important to practice this skill because the chances of you getting into an accident or a near accident go up significantly the moment that the road conditions change and worsen. So with that being said, if you can learn how to constantly adapt to the road conditions, you'll put yourself in a great position to be safe while you're driving. Last but not least, the 5th important driving skill that you should constantly practice is emergency braking, coming to an emergency stop. Now, this is very important because knowing how to brake in an emergency situation properly and potentially swerve with obstacle avoidance in an emergency situation properly will make a huge difference in the level of safety that you have as a driver and the safety of those around you. And with that being said, it's something that is so useful. Now, emergency braking usually doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, when you do need to use it, it is unbelievably important. And that's why I've included it on this list, because even though you won't have to use it often, when you do have to use it, it is so important. And that's why I think it's an important thing to practice. And that's basically it. In this video, I've gone over 5 important driving skills that you should constantly practice as a driver. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.